Okay, the assignment's going to be 3 to 33 odds. I wrote up what f and g are as far as the functions. We're going to apply it to all of these. Number 3, f of x is negative 3 x to the 1/3 plus, because it says plus, g of x, which is 5x to the 1/3 plus 4x to the 1/2. Did I miss part of it? Part A, you're right. Or part of f. What is all of f? Plus 4x to the 1/2. Then you add g, and g is 5x to the 1/3 plus 4x to the 1/2. 4x to the 1/2. You can combine like terms. X to the 1/3. 5 and a negative 3 make 2 of those, so it's 2x to the 1/3. What is 4 of something and 4 more of them would be 8 of those. So it'd be 8x to the 1/2. So your answer should be 2x to the 1/3 plus 8x to the 1/2. Now if it says to subtract them, you subtract them. So you take your f function, negative 3x to the 1/3 plus 4x to the 1/2. Again, when you subtract, make sure you use parentheses. What is g of x? G of x is 5x to the 1/3 plus 4x to the 1/2. Distributing your negative, if you distribute this negative, that's going to make minus 5x to the 1/3 and minus 4x to the 1/2. Anything added to its opposite is going to be 0. How about these two? Do they add together? I think it would be negative 8x to the 1/3. And 4x to the 1/2 and negative 4x to the 1/2 add to 0. So here I have f of x, which is negative 3x to the 1/3 plus 4x to the 1/2 minus itself. Hopefully you know that anything minus itself would give me a result of 0, but you could work it out if you wished. You'd have negative 3x to the 1/3 plus 4x to the 1/2. I think that makes plus 3x to the 1/3 minus 4x to the 1/2. I think these add to 0. But again, I would hope you would know that anything minus itself is 0. Now on 11, they give us f plus g. So f is negative 7x to the 2/3 minus 1 plus g, which is 2x to the 2/3 minus 6. These are both x's to the 2/3. So I should be able to combine them. Okay, I apologize, I wrote this down wrong. This should say plus 6. So what is my g of x would be 2x to the 2/3 plus 6. Combining like terms, x to the 2/3, negative 7 and a positive 2 is a negative 5. X to the 2/3, negative 1 and positive 6 is a positive 5. Hopefully that's a choice. Looks like it might be letter B. Okay, after 11, let's try some other ones. They give us f, they give us g. And these are operations. These are g times f. So what is the g? 5x to the 1/2. It says to multiply it, so what's f? 4x to the 2/3. If you're multiplying, you multiply coefficients. 5 times 4 is 20. And x to the, if you're multiplying like bases, you have to add your exponents. So you have 1/2 plus 2/3. Common denominator might be 6. 3/6 is a half plus 4/6. So that's 20x to the 7/6. Okay, g times g means g 5x to the 1/2 times g itself 5x to the 1/2. Again, multiply the coefficients. 5 times 5 is 25, and add your exponents. So your answer should be 25x to the first. 1/2 plus 1/2 is 2/2. Now 17 might be a little tricky because you can't leave radicals in the denominator. So what is g of x? G of x is 5x to the 1/2 divided by, because that's what it says to do, f of x, which is 4x to the 2/3. If you're going to divide, you divide coefficients. And since you're dividing like bases, you subtract exponents. 1/2 minus 2/3. So that's 5/4 x to the 3/6 minus 4/6 makes it 5/4 x to the negative 1/6. Again, I will never accept negative exponents, so it has to go to the other side of the fraction, this time being the bottom, and becoming a positive exponent. So it should be 5 over 4x to the 1/6. Knowing that you're not allowed to leave radicals in the denominator, you might have to rationalize. Let me check their answer. I checked. This is the answer that they have for number 17. Okay, let's move on. Let's try 21. G of f of 2. This means g of something. How do I find f of 2? I replace every x with a 2. So what does that make f of 2? I believe it makes f of 2 8. So now I need g of 8. G's function is negative x squared, and you need it of 8. So you have a negative, then you have to do the exponent. So your answer is going to be negative 64. How about g of h of 8? I need to now find what h of 8 is. If you put an 8 into the h function, that would be something minus 2 over 5. If I put in an 8, that would be what? 6 over 5? So I need h of 8 is 6 over 5. So now I need g of 6 over 5. G again is negative x squared. And what are you replacing the x with? 6 over 5. Now you have to do your exponent first. So you square the 36, square the 6, and you square the 5, and then you multiply by the negative. That should be the result. Let me check. Okay, let's try a few more from this. How about 29? These are different f, g, and h, but they want g of f of x. So I take my g function, which is 2x to the 2x minus 7, 2x minus 7. That should be the g function. And you're going to replace the variable with the other expression. What's f of x? 3x to the negative 1. So I get 6x to the negative 1 minus 7. I really don't like negative exponents, so you might write it like this. 31 is g of h of x. Again, the g is the outermost letter. So I'm going to rewrite my g function, which is 2x minus 7. But I didn't write the x. I'm going to replace the variable with the other expression, in this case, h of x. So what is h of x? X plus 4 over 3. If I was to multiply my tops, I think that gives me 2x plus 8, and I think they are divided by 3. Could 7 be called 21 over 3? Why would I do that? To get a common denominator to add or subtract fractions. So what is negative 21 and a positive 8? There's a negative 13. So you might write it one of these two ways. So I replace the f. It's f of x. So I wrote the f function, which is this. Then I'm going to replace this with the middle part f of x, 3x to the negative 1. Again, power to a power, you multiply your exponents. And here, when you multiply, you add your exponents. So that'd be 3 to the 0, giving me a result of just x. And finally, let's look at some from the last group, or I guess that was the last group. Try to fill in the blanks, finish up this assignment if you can. Good luck.